Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanger. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in everyone to the Undrafted Uncensored, a part of the E5280 Sports Network, where we finally got our Instagram hooked up with our live shows. But also, you can't be surprised that Sean Stellato is a douchebag the way he dresses.
I thought you were going to go with, and I won't double the price of my talent after winning only one game.
Right?
Yeah. Nick threatened not to show up, and he didn't, and so we paid him double his fee, and he's here tonight.
Yeah, if Colin and I didn't have $20,000, Nick would not have shown up.
Yeah, so this is my fedora, by the way. So when my fedora comes in, we'll discuss a little bit more. I didn't want the top hat because being short and a little bit rounder made me feel like I was going to be penguin.
That sounds fedora.
I didn't really feel like carrying around an umbrella.
By the way, did you like those songs that made me think of you, Nick?
I hate you.
I mean, what else are you gonna expect from me besides, man, I feel like a woman,
Dude,
Everyone else had serious songs.
Between you and my brother, like, he posted a Family Reunion by Blink-182. Dude, I started dying of laughter.
Oh, I must have missed that because everyone else was like, I knew it was bands that were like.
Yeah. My brother knows I like Blink too, but like just the fact that he posted Family Reunion, I was dying. I was like, I had to put my phone down because it was just perfect. Perfect.
It's a total Italian thing. The family reunion at the pizzeria, and
yeah,
I think
soda machine.
The funny thing is that he didn't get fired. He kind of just got a job taken away from him.
Yeah, he got just a little pee-pee slap.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens with his offseason and his contract, with him still as his official player agent.
Yeah, I want to see him try to double his contract ask to the Giants. You saw me win that 1 or 2 games, maybe. But then again, what does he make right now? $900,000? Double of that isn't actually that much. He should ask for more than double.
Hey, Giants, I want that Danny Dimes money. Give me more than dimes. I need quarters, okay? I need quarters. Quarters in my pocket.
They call me Tommy Dollars, not Danny Dimes.
Ain't gonna put vino on the table. You ever tried the pocket car?
Mama gotta get the Parmesan, okay? The Parmigiano, expensive.
I'm gonna make him a
Parmesan Reggiano.
Refuse.
What a bad look for.
I
feel bad for him.
Right.
Only because he didn't do it, but I mean, he's gonna link to that, and he's gonna have a little bit of a stigma attached to him. He's gonna have to real fast distance himself from Shawnee douchebag there.
Yeah, which Sopranos character do you think would do something like that, and why is it Paulie?
And why do you choose Paulie?
Paulie?
It's kind of the polar opposite, really, of what we saw with LeBron's group, that all of his friends that were his agents and handled his stuff. You really didn't hear much about all of their stuff and their doings in the background. I mean, there's obviously Tommy DeVito is not LeBron James talent level, but what I'm saying is that when someone is that big, you would assume, in LeBron's case, that there would be more mess ups or more hazardous, some more treacherous road.
Yeah, but Rich Paul's a great agent. That's a different thing. That guy's really good at what he does.
Well, yeah, but he has his friends running a lot of his stuff too and everything.
Other stuff, yeah. Because Rich Paul's known him forever. They came up in Cleveland together. So he's the guy that doesn't have the certification, because the certification is a crock of shit. But like he's really good at what he does. I don't see Tommy DeVito going out to hire Rich Paul and Clutch Sports.
Yeah, but Rich Paul wasn't anybody before he was with LeBron.
Yeah,
LeBron got up. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
but he's
DeVito,
just a stand-up guy.
Yeah, but DeVito has, has this guy who just all of a sudden screws up, pretty royally in a pizza place in near his hometown.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you're gonna try and nickel and dime a mom and pop shop out of $10,000 more when you already agreed to something. Like, what a trash move.
Yeah.
So,
I was glad he went over there though, of his own accord, make amends. Made his appearance anyway. That's the problem though. Like, you want your friends to, you get that big and you want to help your friends out, but at the same time, there's a fine line between, friendship and employer. And, sometimes it's not worth it. I mean, we've seen, you look at even like kid actors and their parents, getting a little greedy when their kids start making money. And next thing you know, there's court problems and, emancipations and things like that. It's a fine line. And you can definitely start telling who should and should not be in your circle. Cause as you get older, your circle gets smaller anyway, regardless, but as you get more famous too, you really start decreasing the size of your circle.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say with you mentioning Rich Paul, I mean, LeBron got really lucky because we've heard of so many stories of friends and family and things doing that, and screwing guys out of money, and just messing around with their finances or whatever, or making a bad name for them, and then all of a sudden these guys are left with nothing. And this really probably, I mean, you can't tell the future, but most likely this is DeVito's one chance to cash in. Yeah, I mean, he's probably a career backup. I mean, maybe. I don't know if he'll get a starting job. He's done well, but he hasn't Matt Flynned it and had a 500-yard game in order to earn a, $100 some odd $1 million contract for one game.
Yeah, he's more so like Gardner Minshew'd it to where he'll have to go back up somewhere else and maybe get another shot.
But I tell you what, that Danny DeVito, he's a good apple. He's a good apple, man. He showed up today. He showed up for the people. Good apple.
Speaking of the Penguin and people named DeVito.
There we go. Oh, well, it happened Sunday, and I got to finish the quote because I started it when we did the rundown on Sunday or Saturday.
Whatever.
If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Thanks, Alec.
So, Sean Payton more powerful than the Lions can possibly imagine now that he's been struck down
by his But like, I wouldn't say Dan Campbell was a protege of his. Like he was there for a couple of years, but he spent more time on other teams, like with the Dolphins when he was the interim head coach for a little bit.
More fun.
It is fun.
I was trying to have fun with it. I wasn't looking to make it literal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we talk about the Shanahan tree and how that's like McDaniel is part of the Shanahan tree. I mean, dude, he was a ball boy. Like,
oh, Mike McDaniel, yeah, but he moved up. But he moved up in that Washington room, and then he went to San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan. So I know, but he's still kind of attributed to the Mike Shanahan tree. Yeah, which he should.
With that, well, yeah, but I mean, then in the same token, though, you should say that Dan Campbell is part of the Payton tree too.
Well, no, because McDaniel spent a lot more time under Shanahan, in multiple Shanahan places. Like Sean Payton doesn't have that wide of a tree to where when Dan Campbell leaves that team, he can go to another Sean Payton. I almost said Sean Campbell. Sean Payton acolyte, whereas Mike McDaniel spent all of his assistant time playing for Shanahan, whether it was Kyle or Mike or whatever. So he spent a lot more time, I feel like, in that same sort of system, where Dan Campbell, I feel like he learned from everybody. Like he learned how to not do it from Joe Philbin in the Dolphins when he took over for a little bit. He learned how to do certain things in more of a Parcells kind of style, that just angry, hard-nosed, but he takes more of a rah-rah approach than Sean Payton does. So I feel like he's kind of just getting a little bit from everything. I almost think, if we're going to go with the Star Wars, he's almost kind of like Luke Skywalker that learned, a little bit here growing up, a little bit here from Obi-Wan, a little bit here from old Darth when he had to fight him. But hopefully Sean Payton is more powerful than any of us ever truly imagined. And we get some, Leia's your sister type shit.
I don't know. I think the Lions win in a fight with the Bronco.
Yeah. So does Vader,
which we saw on Saturday.
So does Vader versus Obi-Wan, unless we're talking about the show, which we're not.
I mean, well, let's dive into the game now. I mean,
do we have to?
We kind of should a little bit. We are a sports talk program, so I mean, we should talk a little bit about the game.
I mean, I'm obviously the biggest Broncos homer, having chosen the Lions to win this game too.
Yeah. We've all said that about you, Colin.
We all know where you stand.
I was actually saying that to Mike Rice the other night because Dante was kind of getting him set up to do the game, and I forget we were talking about like people that were anti-Broncos, and I was like, "Oh, Colin is that guy. He will pick a Broncos loss every single time, and I love him for it." And then Dante speaks up, and he's like, "Actually, I kind of agree. I think I picked the Broncos to go 2-1 in the last 3 games."
Well, I mean, the Broncos have been exposed. I mean, here and there, they've been exposed during this winning streak. And, I mean, the Lions, they took advantage of it, and they came out and they showed everybody where all of Denver's holes were. I mean, they managed to just own the play clock. I mean, it took the Broncos till the second half to finally get on the board. And, I mean, obviously they made some changes here and there, but it was too little too late. I still don't understand how a center can be offsides when the ball is in front of his helmet.
No, actually, there's another view of it. Another angle that...
I'm going to say you can modify an angle of any photograph, no matter what. I mean, it is what it is. It was called. Yeah. We can't change it, but at this point, photography, any angle you can make that look like an onside or an offside play.
Yeah, the picture I saw was that his head was lined up with the ball, which I'm pretty sure is not offsides.
No,
unless it's across the ball, kind of in the neutral zone they call it. But I don't think you can have a neutral zone infraction on the offense. So unless his head was across the ball, I'm pretty sure that's not a penalty, but that's just me.
Well, and having played center, it's kind of hard to get your head to not notice you're in front of the football when you're snapping it.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it called on Miners on the guard?
No, I thought it was called on Cush.
I thought it was called on Miners. Colin, what did you think?
No, well, I think it was offsides, to be honest.
But on who? Who was it called on? Do you remember? Because I thought it was on Miners.
I thought it was on the center. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Colin breaks the tie. We'll call it the center.
I was gonna say I'm trying to look to find out what the penalty was on right now. Honestly,
yeah, we'll just make that shit up. It's fine.
But yeah, it's the same thing as I said with the Kadarius Toney thing. I mean, how hard is it to line up on sides? And when you're a good team, those things or when you're playing good and you're a good team, those things don't happen. We saw it also in the Philadelphia Eagles game happen. Mm-hmm. Like, this is becoming a point of emphasis. Thank you very much, Kansas City Chiefs, because now they're going to start calling it to overcorrect from what they were doing. I mean, there had only been 11 offensive offsides calls called in the season up until the Kadarius Toney moment, and now I want to say there have been something like 7. Is it 6?
I think it's like 6 or 7. Yeah.
So now we're going to see the market overcorrect in that aspect. So when you're average team and you're trying to get that extra edge, you're not going to be able to get that advantage anymore, and you're also going to get called for it because you're not going to get the superstar calls. Let's face it, the Broncos aren't a superstar team. We all know they went on the 5-game run, but in my opinion, they were still a big paper tiger. So I didn't really believe in any of it, and I didn't think that it was really sustainable. But nobody is a superstar on this team. I mean, Russ has some name value, but Surtain is still young, and I think he gets some of it. Like, he'll get some credit, but that's a whole on the offensive side. you don't have any names, and especially if you see a Jason Kelsey get called for it, like give me a break. Like it's gonna happen.
I feel like Surtain has superstar talent and superstar ability. I mean, he's literally first team All Pro corner, like the best, if not top 3 corner in the NFL. But superstar in terms of name, image, and likeness, he's not quite there. You know, he's not that face of the franchise like Champ Bailey was at the same position for the same team. And he might get there, honestly, in a couple of years, but he's also not as loud and flashy as a guy like Sauce Gardner. So he may end up kind of getting swept under the rug. But most people, like receivers especially, get asked that question, who's the best? They usually say Pat Surtain. I forget who recently, I think it was Devontae Adams, or like, I don't know why Mike Evans pops in my head, but somebody was asked who they thought the best in the league was. And they said Pat Surtain, and they're right. But I think you're right in the sense, Colin, that he doesn't quite reach superstar name level like we always get used to with, Von Miller. With obviously Peyton Manning transcends the term superstar. He's next level. Like people that don't watch football know Peyton Manning. So yeah, they're not going to get those kind of calls like that, and maybe they never will. Russell Wilson almost seems like the antithesis of that, where they're going to call things because everyone wants to kind of talk shit and pile on Russ. Less so this year because we've been better and it hasn't been so much, let's ride type shit. But, that's going to continue to happen until they bring in somebody of that caliber or, God forbid, draft a quarterback.
Well, I mean, I found it. It was Quinn Miners.
It was Quinn.
Yeah.
Ha!
And I don't know if you guys saw my post. I accidentally deleted it, of course. But my I posted. Well, I know Nick, you might have seen it, but I literally posted after the first quarter. I was like, "Hey, well, thank God that the Broncos are still close in this game because Detroit has decided not to throw the ball to Laporta or run Gibbs." Well, after that, it aged very, very poorly because
that did.
What did I say the other day? Laporta up the middle. The Broncos have no answer to stud tight end, and Gibbs is finding his stride. Early in the season, he wasn't getting much run because David Montgomery was playing great, but now Gibbs is he is lighting the running back room on fire. He might be like one of the top few running backs in fantasy like next year.
Next year.
One of the most talked about sophomore seasons in the NFL because what he's done at the end of the season has been phenomenal.
Yeah, they have the best running back tandem in the NFL.
They do. And it's a totally new one from last year too, which is crazy.
Well, yeah, and last
year
they've
had 2 years of great running backs
with Jamal Williams and Swift.
Yeah.
Nah, there was other teams that had better.
Well, they were really good though.
Oh, they were. I had Williams because he was a touchdown machine.
Yeah, Jamal Williams led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last year.
I think so. And Swift was okay. He had some issues because he wasn't very bruiser-like. That's why they traded him. They literally were like, no, we want a guy like David Montgomery. Yeah. And then they drafted Gibbs. I thought was a little weird because like they just got rid of that guy, but maybe they
they didn't get rid of. They got rid of Swift after the draft.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They still had Swift on the roster when they drafted him.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Swift was injured a little bit last year, but they were a damn good rushing team last year too. So.
Oh yeah, Swift just kind of was a little bit soft. You saw some of that. In Hard Knocks at the beginning of the season, he just kind of had a little bit of that mentality that, bounce it outside, don't cut inside, avoid contact, go out of bounds instead of, fall forward for an extra yard or two. Which it seems Gibbs doesn't have that. He'll do a little bit of both. Obviously Montgomery's the bowling ball, but yeah, those dudes, like that's why I wasn't sure the Broncos were going to be able to win that game. They just felt like they weren't going to be able to keep up with that offense. They're too consistent with the running game. They're too fast at receiver. They have a tight end. The Broncos can't stop tight ends. That's just
they don't have
defense was their weak link. Like Broncos could hope maybe to put up a bunch of points and keep up, but this offense, it doesn't feel like they can really keep up with anybody. And you just got to rely on those turnovers, like we've been saying.
Yeah, I mean the lines were just you knew the Broncos were due for a clunker, and you were really hoping it was going to be against the Lions and not against the Raiders, the Patriots, or the Chargers.
The AFC teams.
Yeah, because the Chargers are going to come in here with a whole different attitude with an interim coach. The Raiders think they've figured things out because they managed to put up almost 70 points on the Chargers. And Bill Belichick just loves chaos, and he's an asshole. So, I mean, he's going to come into Denver and try to do anything he can to just destroy everything anyway.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Well, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised that if or when the Broncos lose one or even two of these upcoming games. If
they lose two, I'm losing my mind.
It really wouldn't surprise me.
I think one.
Who are the teams? So Patriots and Raiders, you think?
Well, actually, I think it could be more Raiders and Chargers.
You think Easton stick with Josh Kelly and Josh Palmer?
Well, the thing is, I mean, we talked about this the other day, but when you get a new coach, you also want to go to your star players, and that means Austin Eckler is going to be focused, and I think Austin Eckler to end the season. If this guy who's coaching wants to, have a chance or prove right, like if he wants to prove himself, he's going to lean on his studs, and Eckler is a stud. He's not as good as he was. I'm not as good as I once was.
Or does he know?
As good once as I ever was.
Or does he know what that job entails and is only holding the cards for now until somebody else can come in and pick him up, because he didn't want to deal with that mess, and he doesn't want to deal with that ownership because that ownership is stupid.
Well, yeah, but you also don't want to put bad tape out there as a coach. Nope. You don't want to be the coach who plays your third round running back who's fumbling all over the place. Like that's what killed Brandon Staley. He left his running backs in that kept fumbling and wasn't playing Austin Eckler. Amongst the most multitude of things, but that is like the nail in the coffin. You have guys fumbling multiple times and you keep playing them, and then you have Austin Eckler. Yeah, I know it was the fourth quarter, but he's still running and playing hard, getting first downs.
Yeah.
But this is also an ownership that kept Brandon Staley this whole time, too. Staley's
is also an ownership that you said would never fire a coach in season.
Well, I'm just last week. Everybody else. There's no way
they didn't have a choice.
Bastards would be trying to do that.
I agree with Nick, though, that was their point. And then 63 to a fucking backup quarterback with the shitty Raiders. That'll get anybody fired, I feel like.
Just the celebrations of Mark Davis alone is enough for me to fire anybody in front of me at that point.
Yeah, I don't want to see him happy at all.
No. Yeah, it is like terrifying and disgusting.
I'd fire my WNBA coach just because the Aces won.
Because they're that happy. But no, I feel like I don't know what the Patriots game will be like besides the defense. That's going to be ugly. That might be one of those no touchdown games.
It's the goal. It might be snowing.
Please no.
Yeah, and it might be. I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson will be back for them yet, but the Broncos.
I might have to start Zeke Elliott in the fantasy semifinals. That sounds awful.
If it's Zeke, it is what it is. I think the Broncos could probably contain Zeke, but I'm more worried about Ramondre. He's a very talented back, albeit kind of fragile. He does seem to get hurt a lot more often than he should, but he's physical. Yep. So I'm nervous about that game, but I don't know what's going to happen this Sunday against the Patriots. I really don't.
Like Saturday, you can't. This Broncos team isn't one of those teams where you can say, "Oh yeah, that's a definite L" or "That's a definite win." No. You gotta. Sadly, this is one of those things you just gotta let the chips fall and go from there, and just let it be. Let it be. Let it be.
I mean, but also try to not lose.
Let it be.
To go back to what I've said this whole time, look at the box score. Russell Wilson had to throw the ball 32 times. They rushed the ball 28 times. I know Russ didn't have any interceptions. He had his one touchdown. But still, when you're relying on Russ to throw the ball that much, it's not a good recipe for success.
I don't know. I mean, it clearly was his fault anyway, because Peyton decided to go and berate him on the sideline and then tell everybody it's not our business what he yells at his quarterback about. Hey, guy, guess what? You did it on national TV on the sideline in front of everybody. It's going to be a question.
Well, yeah, but you know what it was is that Russ called the wrong play at the line of scrimmage. Or he rushed it and didn't give them a chance to challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what he's so angry about, because the play before was a touchdown, and then it turns into running up there and a penalty on minors, and then you only get a field goal when you need touchdowns. Obviously,
he made the decision to kick it though
after a penalty.
So what? Yeah. It's 7 yards instead of 2.
That's a big difference in the red zone, Nick.
Oh,
you know that.
It's a big difference.
You need a touchdown.
Yeah, no. In that situation, you're down 28-7.
You need a touchdown.
Your offense wasn't doing enough. You had to get
exactly. Your offense wasn't doing enough.
Yeah, so you had to go for it and get something, because that field goal does nothing for you.
But you were going to walk away with nothing. You were going to walk away with nothing.
You don't know that.
But that's still better, because at least, well, not better, but like the game comes down to that drive being a touchdown. If you don't get the touchdown, the game's over.
It's little moments of recency bias of how can I trust you, Russ? Russ calls the wrong play at the line of scrimmage. Russ hustles everyone up too fast before they can do it. So does Sean Payton in that moment trust Russ to make the right play and right call in the pocket, when we've seen how many times has Russ thrown an interception in the end zone to end a game? We've seen that 4 times?
No, you're right. You're right.
So why would Sean? The Broncos get touchdowns.
Because he still has the clicky button that goes, click. Hey, Russ, slow down a minute. He has up until 15 seconds.
Yeah, I know, but do you think he wasn't saying that in his headset?
He had to have not been, because they rushed up there and tried.
Or do you think Russ wasn't listening or paying attention? Because I guarantee you he was saying it in there. So
I don't think he was.
So why would Sean Payton be that pissed if he wasn't saying something?
Because he gets pissed off about everything.
Well, he gets pissed. Of course he gets pissed off about everything. But
hey, Sean, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? What I had for breakfast doesn't matter. Next question.
It doesn't.
What I eat for breakfast is none of your fucking business.
I still hate sushi.
We just need lip reading on Sean Payton. But what I could read of it, he said, "Why'd you call that fucking play?"
I had too many.
Or that wasn't the fucking play. It was something along those lines. Like,
okay, shit happens. We all make mistakes at work.
I know. Yeah. And Russ, unfortunately, has made a lot of mistakes at work.
And Russ, it seems like, kind of needs that. Like, if you're not gonna really go after Russ for a lot of those mistakes, he's gonna be such a positive guy that he's not gonna necessarily learn from that. Like, I feel like looking back at Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll's not going to yell at you and scream at you, but he's going to make sure you fucked up.
Oh, he's going to jump on that gun, though.
I feel like Sean Payton wasn't totally wrong, because he's more so just frustrated with the entire situation, and he, got off his chest what he was upset with Russ about. And Russ totally understood. He wasn't upset about it. He wasn't trying to argue or go off or be like, that's not
personality,
cool.
Though, too. He's just a good guy. He's going to stand there. He's going to take his lumps.
Yeah.
And then he's going to try and spin it into a positive. That's just how Russ is.
Or he put his tail between his legs because he knew he screwed up.
Exactly. If it was unjustified, I think he would have come out there and he would have been throwing every ball deep. He would have been trying to prove that he was right. Or he would have sulked and kind of been shitty, but he came back out and played the same Russ he had been. So I feel like he understood he fucked up. Peyton told him so. Maybe it was a little harsh, but whatever. That this is football.
That's football. Yeah, I've been yelled at like that by a coach too playing football.
Exactly.
He grabbed my face mask and yelled in my face.
Mm-hmm. And
didn't make my mom too happy.
No. But did he do it repeatedly? Did he do it to bully you? Was he wrong?
No, I was.
There you go.
I was in the wrong, but
maybe that's a little
having the mask was probably the
face mask might have been a little much. Yeah,
a little much. Yeah,
but still,
that's 11.
Yeah,
but not.
You were 11.
Now,
okay.
I was gonna say nowadays, too much, but back then it was the norm.
I was thinking high school. 11 changes everything. Yeah, if you're 11, that's too much. But still, that is still how football goes, and these are adults. And Russ understood it and like kind of was okay with it. So I'm okay with it too. Because honestly, I don't think it's going to mean much because next year I don't think Russ is going to be here. So I don't think that relationship is going to be an issue because like the offense has shown they cannot be effective with Russell Wilson. They can be barely good enough, below average at best, to kick field goals because they don't even get touchdowns off of the 3 turnovers a game they were getting on their win streak. Like it's just good enough, but it isn't really an effective offense. It's not really good enough in like for long-term, like long sustained stability, that kind of thing. Because you can't rely on that many turnovers every game. So I feel like, yeah, it sucks, but I'm not concerned about it.
Well, and to go to what Russ has done good, and there have been some great plays this season that have come from Russ. But also, when you look at those great plays and their probabilities and all those numbers that get put up, 99% of the time, those great plays aren't happening because one part isn't working correctly. You got to applaud and appreciate the great plays that he has made. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot more times that those great plays aren't getting made. And Russ, you said the Broncos can't win. Like, he's okay. But the Broncos can't rely on Russ to win them a game.
No. Exactly.
And that's what my point with them at going from the 2 to the 7. Like, you can't rely on Russ to get you into the end zone and get any points there. So you're going to be down.
But that wasn't
20, you'll be down 21-7 instead of 21-10 at that point, or 20-10 at that point.
But it also wasn't Russ that was offsides either.
No, but do you think Sean Payton blames him for rushing everyone up? Like all those things considered, like it was Russ's call to get everyone back up there right away.
It's that point in the game though, too, where you gotta save as much of that clock as you can. And again, if you think you're gonna review it, especially that late, you might as well just drop the red flag.
So if Sean Payton is yelling in his ear, though, hold on, and Russ isn't hearing it or listening for it, that's probably a reason why you'd be pretty pissed off if your guy you're telling to wait, and then you get a penalty so you can't review what would have been a touchdown.
Or you just throw the red flag. If you're that concerned about it, you can't take – you have the ability still to stop that play.
Yeah, but maybe he's still talking into the headset at that moment.
You got to make a decision, just like Russ. Russ made a decision. If you're going to be Peyton, you got to make a decision just as quick.
Yeah,
if he's going to rush him up the line and you're not going to have time to get that – they're going to get that snap off, you better throw that red flag.
Sean Payton has lost trust in Russ.
Sean Payton's lost trust in everybody.
Oh, and you?
No, I said in everybody.
I think you're not everybody?
Well, I don't care what he thinks about me.
He doesn't trust me, guys. I hate to break it to you, Sean Payton's never trusted me in his life.
I'm just saying,
he trusts me. I come with the real stuff.
I'm just saying he has just as much ability.
You just made that up
as Russ does of slowing it down. If you can't hear him, you have to realize at some point you've got to get that flag thrown. And I mean, does it suck? Yeah, because you may waste a timeout, but you're already playing with your backs against the wall anyway, and you're trying to do everything you can to score. You've got two receivers that do know how to work the outside, although they're not going to get very far, dinking and dunking 4 yards apiece.
You're saying that your $250 million quarterback is not at fault here.
I'm not saying he's not at fault. I'm just saying there's more than just him to blame.
Yeah, but if you're paying a guy $250 million, shouldn't you be able to trust him to make the right decision?
Straight a first-round draft pick for a head coach, you should be able to have the same faith in him.
Yeah, I do have more faith in Sean Payton than Russell Wilson.
Then why did he throw the red flag?
There's not enough time to review it,
there must have been enough time if he was yelling at Russ for that whole.
Well, yeah, because there was still a penalty that they had to march off and then go back and wait for the call. So then he got plenty of time to watch it over and over again. If Russ takes that time,
that's all their job is to watch those replays.
How many? Oh my God, Nick! If we want to go into a replay talk, how many times have we seen these coaches get it wrong when they've had a lot of time, not challenged when they should have? Like we've seen this over and over again, and we've also seen times when coaches go back and they like try and challenge something that they can't. Like all those years where coaches were losing their timeouts because they were challenging things they can't. I mean,
this was in the last 2 minutes. He couldn't throw a challenge flag.
Was it
under 2 minutes?
No, it was
last 2 minutes of the first half.
No,
you couldn't throw a
this
challenge
is the
flag.
second half. No, I mean it doesn't matter what half it was. There was still like
no. They only kicked the Broncos only kicked one field goal in the game, and it was at the end of the first half.
No, third quarter, buddy.
Third quarter.
Look at the play-by-play. Fourth and goal.
Field goal.
Fourth and goal at the 1. Michael Burton up the middle for 1 yard.
Oh, it's at the end of the third. Okay.
Nullified
There's
by
43 seconds left.
Quinn
I saw the
Miners.
43 seconds left, not the third quarter part. That's fine.
Yes.
So he was saving those challenges for the end of the game is what he was doing. That's less good.
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you just gotta shit or get off the pot.
But your quarterback should know that if that is close enough to be a questionable call, you don't just go run another play right away.
So you're talking about the Javonte Williams not getting in?
The play right. The
first time or the second time?
Yeah. So Javonte Williams, it says
where they said he didn't get in. Yeah.
For no gain. That was with 1:30 left.
He was in. But he was in
the third quarter.
So the next play where the penalty was called on was 45 seconds later. So they had plenty of time. That's the full play clock at that point. There's 1:30 left when they ran Javonte, and it was 46 seconds left when they ran Michael Burton and had the penalty. So that's a lot of time to make a decision, to say things. That just feels like kind of a failure of just every level, which it's not all on Russ, but it's still on Russ. It's still on everybody. And that just because that series isn't on Russ, we've seen Russ not be able to win games for this team the entire season. Every one of those games, there was some big plays, but those were better catches than they were throws in almost every situation. Of those big touchdown plays that Russ has made to like Cortland Sutton and such. So I feel like just even though that one situation was kind of everyone's fault, we've just seen that this version of the Broncos, it's not going to be sustainable. It's fun for this year. We're going to enjoy this year. We're going to hope we get in the playoffs and maybe get an upset in the first round against somebody that we'd love to play again, like the Dolphins or the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, I think we all know that next year it's going to be somebody else. Who that is, who knows? It might be two different guys. You might bring in a career backup guy like Minshew or Jacoby Brissett or Taylor Heineke or whatever, and then develop a rookie that you took later on in the draft, like Penix or Bo Nix or whoever. I would love any. Yeah, I'll take Penix or Bo Nix. Penix seems more talented, but
I think Bo Nix.
A short quarterback scares me after the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, Hendon Hooker is active this week, by the way, guys.
Hendon Hooker for who? Who drafted Hendon Hooker? I forgot.
Tennessee, right?
Yeah, over Levis?
The Oilers?
Okay.
Wait, or no.
The Edmonton Oilers.
Hold on. I saw that he was going to be active this week. Let me make sure. Yep. He's active for Tennessee. Yeah, because Levis got hurt at the end of the game. Yeah.
Okay.
The guy that I wanted, at least to sit behind Russ and see and get his ACL back, but
get his ACL back.
Yeah. Repair.
Because now it's too late to sit somebody behind Russ. Like you have to make that decision now. Either you keep Russ or you lose Russ. Because after this year, so much of that money becomes guaranteed. So you really have to make the decision now. And I feel like he hasn't given you any indication that he's going to be worth $50 million a year. Like you're better off drafting somebody and just letting that go slowly.
Next year he's worth.
I have a hard time with that dead cap, dude. I get it.
So,
at the same time, I just have a hard time with that dead cap.
The dead cap is less.
Next year's 39, and the year after is over 50.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to average to like $50 million a year. That's way too much. He's not even worth 20.
But they still have to pay it both years, don't they?
Not if they continue. If they do a June 1st designation, they can cut off a certain amount. I forget exactly how much. And this is all assuming they don't convince him to restructure or anything like that for some kind of sign and trade, or just to kind of front load some of the contract.
Nah, I think
Dog taking a poop over there, Colin?
No, I think he's eating plastic. Hold on.
Great. Yeah, we'll let Colin
I don't know, dude,
dog's life.
it's just so hard to.
That. But yeah, like there's no way that keeping Russ is better than the alternative. Like I just feel like there's not.
Nice.
That's kind of
Festive.
awesome. What is that?
Yeah, at
Colin?
least he's in the holiday spirit.
I got
What
him.
is that?
I got him a. Oh my god, what are they called? Oh my gosh, the boxes that you open up that have like the chocolates in them.
Oh, cool.
Advent calendar. I got a
Oh,
little
okay.
doggy advent calendar that has different treats and gifts in it every day.
Oh,
And
that's
this was
fun.
the gift yesterday.
That's awesome. Is that like a rawhide thing or something?
No, it's plastic.
Oh, it's just a plastic toy.
Yeah,
And he's chewing through?
and it was squeaky, and it's not. So
It is no longer squeaky.
hopefully the other toy he wants it back. He's like, where's my plastic crap?
Hey,
I'm
can I have that?
gonna be picking up pieces of plastic poop for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous about that one. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you should be. Yeah. No, first things first, take care of dog. Dog is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah. Fred the Frank.
absolutely.
Other toys,
Frank the Tank.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We got plenty of time to figure out what's going to happen next season anyway. So, I mean, we'll put a pin in this for now because obviously we got other topics to get to. We can talk about this all night long. Colin wants to go to bed. And so, for everybody's benefit, it's that time where Joe
Me?
gets to drive the car a little bit.
Do you like quality sports? Do you want only the best, most interesting, and impactful games? Well, this segment has none of that. Get ready for Joe Goodwin's Lose Bad with Joe Goodwin. Breaking down all of just the worst games every week. Featuring Colin Zanker, I Hardly Know Her. And Nick Archer, let a guy get his own segment. I would like to apologize for the following.
Uh,
Everybody's favorite segment, Joe Goodwin's Lose Bad.
Welcome in, everyone. You actually been here the whole time. It's kind of like a bait and switch. You thought you were dealing with like real quality stuff. Now you have to listen to a breakdown of the Falcons or not Falcons.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It was Falcons and Panthers. Yeah, I'm screwing myself up because it was Falcons Jets last week. And I'm like, no, we didn't do the Falcons twice. Yes, we did. They are
The over under was 33.
That's amazing. Like I told you guys, hammer the fucking under. I don't know if anybody did. I don't even know who's listening right now. But like, come on, man. There's no way they were scoring that much with two teams that don't have a quarterback and run the ball to a fault. That's more so Atlanta. But the Panthers, that's been their biggest, like, almost effective thing is just pounding the rock and giving multiple carries to Chuba Hubbard because he hasn't been, that good. But you can't throw a pick if you give it to the running back a bunch of times. And they keep trying to feed Miles Sanders, and it's really funny because he can't do anything. I tuned in for a couple of plays while this game was live because I fucked up and forgot that I started Chuba Hubbard in the fantasy playoffs because I'm smart. And I'm like, all right, cool, here we go. And they're on the goal line. They're down 7. In comes Miles Sanders. I'm losing my mind. They give him a handoff. He loses yards. I'm giggling. They hand it off to him again. He gets nothing. I'm giggling even more. Finally, Chuba Hubbard comes in. They do a 3rd and goal. He swings out to the left. There's only a cornerback to stop him. Bryce Young ignores it and runs to the right and just gets sacked. It was wonderful. It was a comedy of errors. It's like, how can you be so inept? Like, this game was so bad, I forgot who won. Like I was prepared this whole time talking about how the Falcons were like barely lucking in to winning that division. The Panthers fucking won this game, guys. I don't know if you realize that.
Their second win of the year.
They won. It's super weird. Like
field goal at the end of the game.
Yeah, the Falcons, they drove down. It was funny because I watch a highlight video that shows every play of the game because why the fuck would I watch these games? And the highlight video guy didn't even save the longest play of the game. It was on this drive. It was a 60-something yard pass to Jonnu Smith. We'll get there eventually. Well, we can just leave it. It's fine. But they didn't even save it. It was hilarious that ended up happening. But the first touchdown ended up being a quick little swing out by the Falcons, which is what the Panthers should have done on the next drive, to Cordarrelle Patterson. Remember Cordarrelle Patterson?
He's great.
Me neither. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, he was fantastic like 2 or 3 years ago. Really fun story. Now he's just probably the third back on this team, and it makes me sad because he's way better than that. Yeah, so after that, the Panthers did their whole comedy of errors, running it to the wrong running back, but I'm biased because I'm a Chuba Hubbard owner. And it is pronounced Chuba. I'm saying it wrong on purpose because Chuba Hubbard sounds so much better. It rhymes. Like I'm going with the Terry Bradshaw on this one. Chuba Hubbard, that just sounds right. One of the fun things is after that field goal that they had to kick, I don't know if the kicker got hurt on the rain or whatever. I could have looked this up. I didn't bother. The kickoff was done by Panthers linebacker Camus Grugier-Hill. That was kind of fun. I didn't know he could kick. Maybe he didn't either. But it worked out. It went like a decent distance. It wasn't a horrible kickoff.
It was fair called in the end zone or whatever. It was
exactly
a touchback.
Like yeah, this guy might have a career as a kicker after he can't play linebacker anymore. Which is kind of fun. The Falcons were just inept. They couldn't really do much. They called some really sad design runs to Desmond Ridder. They just couldn't seem to get anything really going. They forgot they had Kyle Pitts on the team, I guess. So the Panthers are driving down. Bryce Young has a chance. He made some pretty sweet plays, gets him down to the red zone, and just rolls out and gets sacked again. He has some of the worst quarterback vision I've ever seen. And he could get, but he's a rookie. It could be fine. But oh man, this guy is just sad. So speaking of sad, I might as well just play this clip now because it doesn't have any bearing on how the game was. It's just a perfect indication, microcosm, what have you, of how this game went. So I'm hit full screen real quick. We'll see if that changes anything at all. Just for 5 seconds. Wait for it. That's Mark Schler. What? I'm upset. I don't know what happened. It fast forwarded a couple of minutes past where I needed it to be. I never touched it since this morning when it was ready, and I had it exactly on the spot that I needed it on. And I don't think we're going to get it now. Which makes me really sad.
Well, I guess we're on to Cincinnati.
That shit was awesome. There it is. That was it. Just Rihanna saying "Don't stop the music" and very sad, ponchoed people just looking upset. That was wonderful.
Kind of glad I didn't decide to go to the $4 game.
No,
I forgot to look up tickets because I had a date the night before, or the flight tickets. I actually almost went to Vegas today.
Oh,
nice.
God.
But I forgot to look up tickets, and by the time I looked them up, it was too late to get a flight out there. But I could have gotten back. So I do know I can travel to Carolina and back in one day, possibly.
Nice.
I believe you.
I can get back at night at least.
Yeah. But thank God I remember the exact timestamp that clip was in. Because I was like, it should be. Why is it at 15? Whatever the fuck. I literally paused it at 12:30 exactly so I could see just "Don't Stop the Music" and "Sad Ponchos." And somehow YouTube decided to fuck me. Ooh, you know what? I watched more highlights on my tablet on a different device. I think it saved that play.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, like Colin alluded to, very last drive, the Panthers are driving, and like this game was so boring. The very last drive sucked. They got into field goal range, and they literally were on the goal line, just kneeling, because there's nothing else to do. This was so boring. All they had to do was kick one more field goal, and they won with no touchdowns in the saddest, worst, like. This team, they don't even.
I don't know if
their
it can
own
be called the
first-round
saddest or worst because there
Like-
was a 6-0 Patriots Chargers game.
True, but like that helped out the Patriots to get their pick. The Panthers are the worst team in the league, and they don't even own their first round pick. Like they're not actually trying to lose, and they can't. This was one of the first games they've won all season. I think this is like their second or third win. Like it's insane that they're this bad and not trying to be. Like the Bears, I get. The Patriots, I get because they want draft picks, but. What the fuck are the Panthers doing? That's why they fired Frank Reich.
And that's why we let Joe watch that game for everybody. So
Yes.
You're welcome, America. Joe once again sacrifices his sanity and his time to watch a very terrible, rainy Panthers-Falcons game.
It was worth it for the Rihanna clip. Let's be real.
Let's go and move on real quick. We'll skip the Air Force one. We'll hold that till Saturday since they play Saturday anyway, or Friday.
You know, I will say I did choose Carolina to win that game.
There you
Nice.
You know,
Why
I
not?
told you the other day there were going to be some upsets this weekend.
Yeah. It was a
Is
weird.
that really an upset if both teams suck, though?
Yeah, well, Atlanta was leading their division, so yes.
Is it really an upset, though, if both teams suck?
Yeah. Yes.
Does it count if you're winning a terrible division?
I started my weekend off 7-0, and then it went poo-poo. But yes, we can get to Air Force this weekend.
We're going to move on to the hot stove. We briefly touched on it. I know you wanted to mention it, Colin. Shohei Ohtani is officially a Los Angeles Dodger.
Wait, where'd you hear that from? From this fucking podcast, breaking news.
Yeah, so people are up in arms about this, and I get it. And I get this is I'm angry at the Dodgers because they're smart.
They found a loophole.
They found a damn loophole. And you know what? They saved it for the biggest contract that you could hand out or that's been handed out in history. And how you had to have both parties come together and agree upon this with the deferred money. But the Dodgers, you can't be angry at them. All you can do is applaud them for this. I hate it for baseball because now the Dodgers have gotten Tyler Glass now in a trade. They got their pitching. Nick was all afraid. Why is he going to go to LA? They need pitching. Well, guess what? They got some pitching. I told you they were going to go out. It doesn't matter if Shohei.
I knew they were going to. I was just saying that they were more in need of pitching than they were Shohei. And I mean, all it is the rich getting richer. And don't throw that in my face.
I was like, just wait, Mr. Juan Soto.
Shohei's also a pitcher.
Not this year.
Until next
I know. He had Tommy John. But like that's still gonna, is he gonna spend the entire year not pitching?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's already been determined that 2024 is a non-pitching year.
Okay. But how many years is he signed for? Like 7? 10? Yeah, he'll pitch. It's gonna be fine.
That's exactly what I said.
He'll pitch for at least a year. We'll see how that elbow holds up.
Yeah, I mean, but either way, his skill set that he brings is undeniably.
Oh yeah,
probably. I mean, the greatest that we've seen of our generation, and could be the greatest ever.
Yeah. And it's not like the Dodgers are known for having great pitching or anything.
Never.
Yeah.
But
if I can name at least 2 of their pitchers, they're fucking really good. Which I can name 2 of them. That's it.
Hideo Nomo, only no hitter in Coors Field history.
Yep.
The Dodgers
Baldo's no hitter somewhere else.
It was in Atlanta.
Oh, that's ass. Sorry.
Yeah. So the Dodgers, what they did was work the system, and you can't be mad or angry at them. You can be angry at Major League Baseball for allowing this to happen, and we know this loophole is going to close up.
You know who you can be mad at?
Either way, it's set up a team for the next 5 to 7 years. You know, very, very well, because Shohei should be good for at least that many years, and he'll pitch for some of those most likely. So you'll get that dual threat, especially now with Major League Baseball changing the DH and adding it a universal DH. Yeah. So therein lies the other problem that I go back to is I loved as a manager the chess game that it took having the pitcher hit. I miss and now that you've removed that, you've made this an even playing field for all the hitters so they can go to the National League and hit. And so by doing that a few years ago, Major League Baseball didn't realize what type of monster they really created. And they probably didn't know that Shohei was going to cause this type of effect in Major League Baseball. Yeah. But this is what happens. This is what happened. And I'm not saying that all these rule changes are bad in Major League Baseball, but what I am saying is that what they've done, they didn't have enough foresight to see that you could potentially defer as much money as possible if anyone wanted. There's nothing stopping a Major League Baseball team from having a $2 billion payroll with $1.7 billion of that, or whatever the minimum is. I don't know what the minimum that you have to have in payroll is on a season, but there's nothing stopping a team of or a group of guys and players getting together and saying, we want a super team. We want to be paid for the rest of our lives. Sure, you can sign us to a $300 million contract, and we'll just take $5 million this year.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing to stop these guys from doing that. So I don't know if Major League Baseball can do it this offseason, but next season, you got to know that there is going to be a change in Major League Baseball rules, and we are going to see some contracts. If there's rumblings of this happening, we are going to see some contracts handed out this year that are astronomical with deferred money. We are going to see a crazy, crazy amount of guys signed. Mark my words. If it's not changed before the season.
Agree to it too, though. The Players Association is the one that allowed this to happen in the first place. You know, we celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day every year.
That's what I was saying. Do you know who you can be mad about this for? Like, Colin said, you can't get mad at the Dodgers. You know who you can get mad at? Bernie Madoff. That is the one catalyst that caused all of this shit to happen. If Bernie Madoff didn't do his pyramid or Ponzi scheme, whatever it was, and involved the New York Mets ownership in this scheme to where they thought they were going to be getting so much money in return for so long that they deferred Bobby Bonilla's contract for however many years it is, that's who you get mad at, is Bernie fucking Madoff. Or whoever the Mets ownership, GM, whatever, who signed that contract. But I think it's funnier to blame Bernie. Also because he's dead, so, you know, we can blame him.
Well, I mean, we could go there, but it's Major League Baseball's fault for not putting a cap on it, too, because there's been plenty of negotiations, and you could have this as part of it. I mean...
Well, it was only 20 years ago, Colin. You can't expect them to just jump right out of their seat immediately and fix something within 20 years.
You know, you would hope. But, you mentioned the Players Association also has to agree to it also. And why
sure they love it.
It's not a 100% vote, Nick. Do you think that 30 other teams are going to say, "Oh yeah, that's fine, whatever. The Dodgers can do this all the time"?
No. I'm not saying the owners aren't going to try and manipulate it. I'm saying the players are going to have to vote for it too, because it's their contract too. So they're going to say, you know, we don't want to limit on how much we can push off.
Don't get your wires crossed. The owners are still pulling the strings with the players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really? Yes. Yeah, I think we
except for Monfort.
No, the owners are real happy with Monfort. I mean, he's doing a great job of making them money. But yeah, I mean, they can be like, the owners can say, hey, we're not going to do this or do that, and to players, and send them out along their way and put them to pasture.
So I mean, you say that, but there's always a Rockies team out there that'll sign somebody.
How many times does it really feel like the Players Association ever wins against the owners?
In any sport.
Like, yeah. I mean, if you can name me a time where it feels like a win for the Players Association, I mean, there might be one out there. I mean, I could be wrong, but really,
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL got weed in, but then they can't gamble on. They can't figure out how to not gamble around their own facility.
Yeah.
And they didn't, make that rule very clear to everyone. And it's funny too that like all the Iowa State guys that were all like in the same kind of talking circles are the ones that got that. But yeah, exactly. Like, and that's not just directed towards Nick in general. I think that's to like everyone listening. Tell us a time that the Players Association in any sport won. Go ahead, I'll wait.
It still feels like they typically get their way with with what they want. So it's a very tricky situation that has been put. The wheel that's in motion it's troubling for baseball because if these things can continue, it is kind of scary. Like Joe said with Bernie Madoff, it can feel kind of like a Ponzi scheme because you're promised all this money, and no one can tell what tomorrow holds, and anything could happen, and none of it could be there for you.
We're 100% going to see another Bobby Bonilla. Maybe even worse. Like, we'll still celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day every year because it's fucking awesome. Until whenever it runs out, which is like what, the 2030s, 2040s,
2034, I think.
That's too soon. I want it. Can we defer it longer? But yeah, we're gonna see that. We might have already seen that. It might be Shohei Ohtani in his elbow. Like, who knows, man? The fact that so many sports have like non-injury guarantees, or the NFL has big non-injury guarantees, like fully guaranteed contracts don't exist. I don't know how fully guaranteed Shohei's contract is, or how fully
it's all guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But there could be some like Nick made the point, some stupid Rockies, GM person is going to sign someone like Chris Bryant or someone who's perennially hurt to some ridiculous contract they can just defer later, and then they're going to get hurt, and they're going to have to pay all of it.
I want to say Todd Helton is still getting paid this year. Yeah.
But that he deserves that. That's cool. Like Todd.
And it's not saying that Shohei Ohtani doesn't deserve it either. But I get what you're saying, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like this.
Todd Helton's homegrown. He spent his whole career here. Like that's a guy the Rockies should almost just pay whether they owe him or not.
No. This just opens up a can of worms for the rest of Major League Baseball and the smaller market teams. If the large markets, I mean, I'm surprised the Yankees, literally, Nick, and this isn't a swipe at the Yankees, but I'm surprised they never did this before or never saw this before.
I think if George was around,
you're right.
But the problem is George doesn't like keep people around when they're not giving him anything. So, Steinbrenner's not going to sign you to a contract where he's going to have to keep paying you after you're gone.
Yeah.
I.e., David Justice after he got traded from the Bronx to Oakland.
Okay, actually, I got the team that surprises me. Well, it doesn't really surprise me. The team that should have done it was the Florida Marlins. When they won that, all they did was sign all those hitmen to come in and win that championship, and then, see you later.
Oh yeah.
And they could have.
Did that with Randy Johnson back in the day. Buy yourself a championship.
They had Maddox and not Smoltz, Schilling on that team. Phew, they were good.
Sure, yeah. I just know Randy Johnson because he killed a bird.
Yep.
Sorry, he obliterated a bird.
It's one of those slippery slopes where he is as irritable as Steinbrenner was. He had a good business sense of when it was time to tap the brakes. And I think keeping somebody on your payroll for an extra 30 years after they're no longer playing for you defeats the purpose of trying to win now, because that's all George wanted. He wanted to win now. And
that's fair. Well,
finally, Baby Boss is starting to figure out that that's kind of how Daddy was doing it, was being smart and actually spending money, but spending it on the right kind of talent. and not letting Cashman make some weird, strange moves from time to time and focus on finally getting the big fish.
December 9th will be Shohei Money Day.
Yeah.
Or something. That's when he signed his contract. I'm sure he gets it at the start of every season, just like Bonilla did too.
Yeah.
Just under 100 days away from opening day.
100?
I think we're at 100.
Oh, we're almost to just the double digits. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah. Let's go.
I got to start planning my trips.
I know. Oh, man.
But at least it rhymes. We'll call it Shohei Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I don't know. We'd been wanting to touch on that, so we finally got a chance to do it.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and move this on real quick, Colin. Your turn to take over.
Yep. And next it's Yamamoto time, and then the victory formation.
Woo!
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Or sorry, least. Featuring Nick Archuleta wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin just kinda winging it.
Oh, you know it. You love it. It's the victory formation. And you know what we love? We love a perfect week, a 4-0 week from one of us.
Yeah.
I don't know
What we
shit.
don't love so much from us is a 2-2 week and a stinker of a week at 1-3. Who
I'm
did it?
1-3.
Who won? Who
I'm
lost?
1-3.
Let's go over it. Well, we'll start off with the first game. We already know the Lions romped all over the Denver Broncos.
Sorry, Colin, real quick. Have you ever watched Epic Rap Battles of History?
Of course I have.
Who won? You decide.
You decide.
That sounded so much like Epic Rap. Sorry.
I say of Hitler versus Stalin. We had the Lions romp all over the Broncos. And that would be me and Joe getting that correct. And that would take Nick out of the opportunity to be 4-0. We move on to the Ravens and the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
The Ravens won this game, and both Joe and Nick decided this one correctly, while I
Oh shit!
don't know what I thought about, what I was thinking choosing the Jaguars, thinking they would actually have a bounce back.
So when I said I don't know shit, I went undefeated and didn't realize it. That's kind of awesome.
There he goes. There's Joe Goodwin.
Me.
So obviously Joe is the one that's perfect on the week. And I'm trying to figure out if Nick has figured it out or not, where he's at in this pick'em.
Oh, he said immediately. He knew. He's like, I'm 1-3.
Yeah, I knew exactly, dude.
Yeah, before you even started, he's like, yeah, he must have looked.
Well, then we moved to the Eagles Seahawks, and the Seahawks ended up winning this game. Good job, Joe. That netted you $23.60, while both Nick and I lost our $10 on that one. And then we moved to basketball, where Nick can't remember that he and Joe both picked the Victorious Warriors over the Trailblazers.
I forgot about that.
Meaning I myself went 1-3. Nick stuck in the middle with you at 2-2, and Joe Goodwin,
Damon,
perfect as perfect as the other side of the cool pillow that I'm about to hit because I got to get up at 4 a.m. So Joe, you netted this week $69 dollars and 81 cents.
Wait, do you know what episode this is?
It is episode 69.
This is episode fucking 69.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the only thing in the description for the episode is going to say nice.
Nice. Man, yeah, shout out to Billy. If I would have been in Vegas, that would have been nice if I could have made that work. Your total, Joe, is now at $499.08. Nick, with your 2 wins and 2 losses, you won $11.86 in profit, bringing you up to $621.98.
I want him to win.
With my one victory at minus 230, I lost $15.65, bringing me down to $927.78. Still trying to get over that $1,000 mark before the end of the year. We will see if it happens in the next 3 weeks. 3 weeks of pick'em, I guess.
Yeah.
Technically, it'll be after the new year after that. But yeah, Joe is the big winner this week. I guess it is only 2 weeks of pick'em. So I gotta go sweeptastic on this supermarket sweep style. Bonuses. But yeah, Nick's just trudging along right there. He's found his stride. I think I'm too smart for my own good sometimes on this. You know, I'm overthinking some of these things.
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
That's okay.
Speedy.
You know, once the new year starts, you can start all over again with your losing. Okay, Holmes?
Okay, Speedy.
Okay, Speedy. That's so good. I forgot about that. Oh, man.
All right, we're going.
I gotta get up in 5 hours.
Yeah, we're getting out of control. So I'm gonna go watch some Looney Tunes. But thank you to Michael Spillin and everybody over at E5280sports.com for letting us be a part of their shenanigans, letting our shenanigans outdo their shenanigans. And
I swear to God, next guy that says shenanigans is getting pistol whipped.
Make sure you tune in to E5280sports.com for shenanigans, and you'll have a lot of fun and learn stuff in sports.
Hey, Nick, what's that restaurant you like with all the knick-knacky shit on the walls?
Oh, you mean shenanigans? Thanks, everybody. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Go watch Super Troopers right now.
Okay, Speedy.